So I'm waiting for people to come and then we will start. And the topic is funding your $1 billion idea. And obviously you can keep on posting your questions in between. Meanwhile, if anybody has a question, please post it so that before I start with the topic, I'll answer your question. Hey Rahul. Yeah, you can ask your question regarding company incorporation too. Please ask me. Hey Bima. Yeah, Bima, sir, this is something that is not related to startups, I'll tell you, because startups has different set of benefits. For MSME, you need to register yourself for small and medium scale enterprise. So that's a different domain altogether. For that, you need to go through the NSIC channel. I'll repeat, NSIC channel. Hi, Kanika. Okay, Rahul, so I'm waiting for your question about the incorporation so that I can start. Hey Manikanta, yes. In fact, the small startups do get funded, and in fact, only small startups get funded. So, when we say startup, that means it has to start small. That is why it is startup. Naveen wanted to know what's the interest of VC in B2B startup space. I'll tell you some fancy spaces like predictive analytics, IoT. There are so many of them, but however, I'll tell you, there is no particular segment that a VC targets. As long as the VC can find out there would be a good exit, they would be interested in investing. Let it be any segment. As long as it is a disruptive startup, so it has to be a startup, it has to be disruptive. There will not be any kind of condition. I'll tell you, VCs do have their own filters. However, it is not mandatory for them to go for any particular sector or any particular segment, right? Okay, here comes a question with a pen only number. Can I apply for incorporation? Yes, if you have the PAN card and incorporation, if you say, are you talking about a private limited company? You are talking about a proprietorship or partnership. If you are talking about a proprietorship or partnership, it is very, very easy. What you can do is just apply for a proprietorship PAN card, and even if you don't want to register it, that is fine. You can just start a bank account. You can file the papers in the bank, and that's it. You will be done. So in case if it is a private limited company, then you have to file for a DIN, you have to file for prepare the memorandum, and then probably you can file the application before the registrar, and when the registrar will issue you a certificate of incorporation, then only you can start the business in a private limited company. Alright. Yes, Manikanta, we can help you in getting funded. However, there is because there is a huge demand and supply gap here. There is a huge demand, everybody wants funds, and we have a limited number of resources, as well as the number of investors in the ecosystem is a limited number. So we have to be very much choosy about the startups we help. So we can't just take on taking up every startup whichever comes our way. That would be little tough for us. So we kind of try to choose on the basis of fundability. What we find, we have our own filters on the basis of the filters provided by the VC, and obviously I have been investing in the ecosystem, so I have my own set of experience doing that, and this is how we have set the filters. All right. Okay, so here comes the question. Venkatesh Iyer. Hi Venkatesh. We are a startup into Indian ethnic dress and Indian art and craft product. What kind of funding can I expect? and how to proceed on it. Okay, so I'll tell you the kind of funding is only angel funding that you can expect initially, and that is called seed funding. The first kind of funding comes from three people, that is called 3F: friends, family, and fools. So you need to find out among your friends, then you need to find out within your family, and if not, then you have to find out some fools. Getting funded from angel investors is kind of a difficult fact. It's a task, because what happens is these people are very much informed, and if you come from a segment which is a segment which is already there in the industry, in terms of hyper competition is there, or there is a perfect competition, it becomes little difficult to explain the investors, because there are so many of the startups, and you will be competing with other SMEs, other large platforms, other large companies. That becomes a difficult. So we as of now, if somebody says I am coming up with an e-commerce platform, we are competing with Amazon, it's very, very hard for them to raise funds from angel investors. Alright. Here comes another question. I love social service. I wish to do that forever, but I need to have returns from the same so that I can leave my job, but it is a bit difficult to generate revenue from the same. Can you do me for the same? Well, I'll tell you, social, when you say social service, either you do charity or you earn money. So, both of the things are different. You can't say I want to do social service and I want to earn. Yes, you can start up company which is not for profit, or you can start a trust wherein you can charge the trust. That means your own trust. You can charge for the management. However, it is not something which you should go for. So, like we always say, bhuke pet bhajan to hota nahi. So you need to have at least first you earn, then you do the charity. So you can't do both the things simultaneously, because for charity also you need funds. Either you are well connected to the society of investors or HNI people who have big pockets, deep pockets, then probably you can approach them, raise funds. I won't say raise funds, it would be like more of a donation. So you can have donations from them, and then you can do your work. But if you are not a connected person, I won't recommend you to go into something which is hardcore social work. What you can do is you can create a mix of both. You can probably have services which are subsidized kind of services, like you can get into female hygiene segment, wherein you can offer get the sanitary pads manufactured at a low cost. You can offer them at a low cost, and that is also a social work. So you need to have your own definition of what you want to do in social work, and this is how you can move ahead. There comes another question I can see. So here says, is it possible to raise funds for a cryptocurrency based fund averaging returns? No, I understand, cryptocurrency, it's a high risk, high investment, and high return business. However, it is in India, it is not legalized. You must have seen in different countries, and few countries it is legalized, in few countries it is not legalized, few countries the process is going on. I'll tell you, most of the cloud mining companies, they have done a big fraud. They have been hacks previously in the you must have heard about Bitfinex. There were so many of the Bitcoin exchanges that have been hacked. And yes, there are n number of cryptocurrencies. There are so many thousands of them. If you say if you want to get into Bitcoin, then this is something which you cannot say it's a startup. But yes, if you create something which is like ZebaPay or ZepPay, whatever you want to call it, it is a funded company, and because it is a wallet as well as something into transactions, so you can probably get funding for that. But you need to understand how blockchain technology works. You need to understand how these nodes would be getting so complicated and complex in future. You need to understand this is a very high risk, huge risk industry. So if that is particularly okay with you, you can get into that segment. But I'll tell you, it would be really difficult, really tough if you are mining the coins and you want to raise funds, because it is like saying मैं तो पैसे छाप रहा हूँ, मेरी तो मशीन है, और फिर मुझे और मशीन खरीदने के लिए पैसे दे दो. So it's like, too much funny, too much bizarre if you ask for funding, if you are mining the coins, right? And I'll tell you, I've tried mining coins for a longer time, and I know it's not a very paying business. It's very difficult to generate revenues there. Electricity cost is very high if you go for your own S9. I hope most of us won't be knowing what is S9. I'll tell you, S9 is a particular machine that is a specialized device to mine bitcoins. This is the latest one, which is not available in India. We have to import it from China. Most of the companies in mining, that is called cloud mining, are cheating most of the investors because we want easy money. Everybody is greedy, and they are utilizing, they are finding out benefits out of it, and they are cheating people. So I'll tell you, the technology, in fact it's not a technology. What they are doing is, this is something called bit mixing. Bit mixing is on the way. It is a Ponzi scheme. Don't go for it. They are charging, they are taking coins from A, they are paying to B, they are taking coins from B. Okay, it is not mining, it is trading of altcoin like Ether or Litecoin. Okay, so if it is a exchange, that means you need to have some traction on the exchange. If there is a good traction you are getting, yes, you can be funded, because technology companies get funded very easily. So I think we have enough of questions. Let me come back to the topic, which is funding your $1 million idea. I keep on getting these queries and questions and presentations from people. Most of the people, they say, sir, I have a very good plan. Why don't you find out investors for me? I can get funded. I have a very good plan. Some people say, help me out in developing the plan, I can get funded. So that is very, very bizarre kind of situation, because if plans can get funded, then somebody who's developing the plan can get the funding every day, right? So but most of them, they get into arguments with me, because they don't know. So it's pretty right, but I'll tell you, recently there was a guy out of the college. He was in first year, and he said, sir, मेरे पास बहुत अच्छा प्लान है, मुझे आप फंडिंग करा दो $1 million की. So I said, plans does not get funded. This is just an idea and not even a complete idea. How can you get it funded? So he said, मेरे तो बहुत सारे friends की प्लान पे फंडिंग हो गई. And I said, I don't know your friends. I don't know कौन friends हैं आपके, क्या है. Then he said, सर मार्क जकरबर्ग की फंडिंग हुई थी, बिल गेट्स की हुई थी. तो आई सेड, भाई उन्होंने कॉलेज ड्रॉप किया था, फिर तू भी कर दे तो हो जाएगी फंडिंग. सो ही सेड, ओके सर, आई डू इट. सो I tell you, it's very, very difficult for me also to explain them, to convince them, to tell them that this is something which actually does not happen. Plans do not get funding. Ideas have no value unless executed. There are people better than you. There are people all across the world who have ideas, who generate n number of ideas. Unless executed, there is no value in the idea, right? So plus there are lot many people doing similar ideas. Okay, so here comes another question that says, I'm working on 360 degree live streaming idea of my startup. I want to validate the idea and looking for funding. So for validation of the idea, we need to talk specifically, because I need to probe you. I need to ask different questions. It's a process. So idea validation is not that easy. It's not like that I can probably tell you if there is a similar competitor in the market. Then yes, it is a fundable idea, because market already validates an idea. If you say, if you are copying something, I won't say copying, it's not a good word to use, but if you are doing something similar which is already existing in US market or in Singapore market or anywhere in the world, and it is successful, then yes, this idea is workable. Idea is particularly validated because it has been validated in the market somewhere else. However, you need to find out whether it is good for Indian market or not if you are launching in India, because there are geographical, there are various physiological differences in India and US. So accordingly, we need to find out whether this thing particularly will work or not. So I would recommend you to go for particularly surveys, ask different at least 100 people about this, whether they will be using your services, and if they say yes, that's awesome. You'll get your 100 customers, your first 100 customers, and that particular data you can utilize for building up your application, as well as you can utilize that data to show to your investor, or the potential investors that I have 100 set of customers and they are ready to buy my product. And if you have those kind of customers, yes, investors will definitely take interest in you. All right, so somebody says, for seed funding, do we need to have valuation on paper? No, it's not necessary. I'll tell you, lot many people tell me that chartered accountants are asking me for 25,000, 50,000 bucks just for preparing the valuation. I don't think so. Any investor will accept your valuation, whatever, there is a big difference in what you think and what people think about you, right? So it does not matter. Probably you will value yourself $1 million, but investors may not value you accordingly. You may not even have an idea. Everybody wants more and more money. So I've seen people, they ask for $5 million just once they register a .com. So what is the fun of it? Until and unless you get the valid idea or the offer from the investor, no need to go for a valuation. Investors will definitely value you automatically. There are two types of valuation: pre-money and post-money. So pre-money valuation will automatically happen as per the investors. There would be some set of expectations on your part, but expectations and reality, there's a big difference. There's a huge difference, right? So I don't think so. If you ask for $1 million, you'll get $1 million. In investments, we always say, if somebody is asking for 1 crore, that he's worth 20 lakh rupees. So we divide it by 5. This is the formula. This is not a ready set formula. Skipping my question, I'm sorry, I must have skipped. Can you please again ask that question, Manikanta? Because I am seeing whatever is there on my screen, I am answering that. So Manikanta, please ask the question again. Meanwhile, let me check what Sumer is asking. We have a startup for carpool. It's a private carpool application module, 6 months old product approximately. Okay, so if it is an app, if it has 800 active users, to be honest, I don't think so it is generating too much of revenue. Tentatively, what you are entering is this is something, it's an industry wherein lot many startups have entered. If you look at NCR scenario itself, there are more than 100 startups in carpool, ride sharing, this kind of segment. So when you have more competitors entering a particular segment, then you need to validate the market, you need to validate yourself by having more and more traction. And yes, now when there are so many players, investors will expect revenue to happen. Revenue will become the identifier for the traction. So yes, traction is a multiple of different factors, but here in your case, I'm sure any investor would be looking for revenue to find out. So it depends entirely upon what kind of revenue you are generating, what is the business model, how recurring business you have. This will entirely depend upon all those factors. So Manikanta says, can you select some valuable startup and help them get funded? No, I'll tell you, it's not about this kind of selection. So there's a particular form at startuplanes.com which the startup fills up. And I'll tell you, we are very slow in shortlisting the startups because I have been helping many venture capitals, just like Gujarat Venture Finance Limited, Utilis Capital. I'm shortlisting for them. I am helping various investment networks like Indian Angels, Mumbai Angels. I'm helping them out in shortlisting process. I'm already having clients whom I'm helping. So we have limited number of resources, to be honest. I cannot commit that I can shortlist a few startups and I cannot give you a date. It depends entirely upon the availability and what kind of concept it is. So if somebody is building something into predictive analytics or artificial intelligence, when I say artificial intelligence, it has to be artificial intelligence. It should not be something which is just a name, say artificial intelligence. So most of the people I've seen, they are building something which is for the namesake. They don't understand how to create neural sets, and they expect the investors to be dumb and blank who does not know about technology. So that way you are wrong. Every investor will dig you deep inside. They will find out if you are not able to answer the question, if you don't know how to create a neural set, or if you don't know what a treasure is, and if you are talking about deep learning, then I'm sorry. So that is not the way to go. Most of the people, they say, somebody else is building the development, doing the development for me. I'm not the CTO, or such kind of answer. So if you are doing deep learning, if you're doing artificial intelligence, if you don't have understanding how it is working, then I'm sorry, then you are not fit for funding, because whatever you are doing, you should have the knowledge about it, at least because it is your own baby. Okay, you take on rapid practice. Down funding, my investor always seem to evaluate a company while sitting for a round of investment. What can be done to avoid such problems while sitting for a round of... Okay, so this is a good question. I'll tell you because just like you go to a sabzi wala, this is a natural practice which everybody has. You go to a sabzi wala, you ask bhaiya kitne ki diye, and you start negotiating. So negotiation is inbuilt in us, and this depends entirely upon how good a person is negotiating. If you are not able to see, negotiating does not mean that you become hardbound. If you say nahi bhaiya itne ka hi hai, lena hai lo, nahi to jao, then also it is not going to work. So negotiation is a mix of rebuttaling, it's a mix of convincing, it's a mix of making the other person understand, and this is how it goes on. If you say that मैं तो 10 रुपए का ही बेचूंगा, आपको लेना है लो, नहीं तो जाओ, then the other person will move. But if you say that probably मेरी अपनी cost 9.5 रुपए आ रही, this is how the सब्जी वाला says, मेरी 9.5 रुपए cost आ रही है सर, मैं कैसे दे दूँ आपको 9 रुपए का, it's not possible, चलो 9.5 का ले जाओ. So this is something which is your own skills of negotiation. But yes, you can, I'm a startup lawyer, you can involve people like me for the negotiation purpose, who will do the negotiation for you, but before that you need to have the investors. Okay. So here says 1 million can easily build an exchange for cryptocurrencies of future. Just like NSE, BSE, we were built for that as a take credit. I'll tell you, Sohail, it won't require even $1 million. Getting the infrastructure ready will not be costly due to the technology called cloud. At this moment, we have a scalable technology. We don't need to invest too much in the infrastructure. So, if you want to create an exchange, you can. There are various open source applications available, or you can buy the code. Whatever suits you, it's not too expensive, and you can make it running. So, but that does not mean that your exchange will get traction. Building is something else, making it run is something else. Plus security is again one of the biggest challenge. So I have the last time when it was a huge blast and disaster in the Bitcoin was when a Japanese exchange went down. People were thinking it is the most safe and secure, but it became bankrupt. Recently, last year, there was a exchange in Hong Kong that went down, that was hacked. I won't name it, but yes, my investment was also there, and they distributed their cost to all the people who have kept their money. So it's just like saying कि बैंक में चोरी हो गई तो हम सब बंदों का पैसा काट लेंगे. So it's not, it's not done. But this is how it is working right now. Bitcoin is a very, very risky investment. So probably what you can do is you can build something, market it, and if it is working fine, then yes, probably you may not need the funds because there is a huge amount of profit in it. This is a technology application. If you do online marketing for that, and if you happen to get investors or people who want to exchange money, then it is good. You may never need investment for that. Well, thank you, Shopping. And there's another question. Manikanta says, can you connect me to someone else who can help us getting funded as you have limited? No, when I say limited resources means the limited number of investors. Okay, So I can hire people. My scalability, my office is a big office, I'll tell you. So my scalability is not a problem. I have capacity to have 500 people. That is not a big thing. But when I say resources means money is limited, investors are limited, and I don't think so. There are many people in this industry who will be helping out for raising funds, because it's a complicated task actually. It's not that easy. It requires the connections, because nobody wants to. Yes, Manikanta, this is the website. This is the website. And I tell you, because I'm a lawyer also, so I've not made too much developed website. So it is just like few pages. Previously it was more pages. Now I've reduced it to 2 or 3 pages. Manikanta, I cannot comment on that. I cannot comment like that because it takes time. I cannot say that anybody just by the if it is something on the basis of a name. Yes, I like your name. So it's not on the basis of name or a little information. It is on the basis of some internal factors that we have, our own calculation. We also have to find out what is the chances of getting a startup funded. So that is the most important thing, right? So just like when you have a cricket team of say 11 and you have 100 members, you shortlist accordingly who have the maximum chances of winning, right? So this is our पैसे तो सबसे ही मिलने हैं. It's not about money, but we want to have more success ratio for us, for the startup, so that our efforts are not wasted, their efforts are not wasted. Okay, another question comes up. Can I know how much time it takes to at least see my submitted video? No, you won't see. It's a confidential data. Nobody can see that data, and we don't issue any kind of statistics. We don't issue any kind of information whether it is shortlisted or not. Once we start working on something, we always shoot a mail first. Then this particular thing can start, and obviously then only we will talk about the fees. We'll talk about what would be the charges and all. So we don't just do like in a haphazard way. Okay, so anybody else asking me any question, I will be happy to answer, and then I will again come back to the topic of funding your $1 million idea. To evaluate your startup, there is nothing called minimum time. I'll tell you again, it depends upon the opportunity. See, there is a particular form you will find there, and we find out according to the need of the time or the filters of the investors. So like recently there was a demand, few days ago there was a demand for any startup into budgeting. So that is fintech, but specifically there has to be a budgeting startup for that. So then we started digging into our database for a budgeting startup, and so this is how we find out according to the need of the time. We need to have the database first so that we can match up particularly at that time. Yes, we are thinking about a service called an outsourced investment banker, or you can say a part-time CFO, wherein we can provide you somebody who will be actually working as a part-time CFO for you, will be talking to the investors on a regular basis. But yes, you have to pay the salary. However, the salary would be much more higher because it would be working on a time sharing basis. So one particular person would be working for 10 startups, so that becomes, if his salary is 2.5 lakhs, you just have to pay 25,000 plus service tax. Yes, and some management fee to startup names. So that is particularly what could be done at a later stage, but right now we are just planning it. There is nothing done. Fees, yes, as I told you right now, fees, there is a success fee particularly, as well as there is a monthly retainer fee, because it requires the effort. We issue daily statistics about whom we have approached, and there would be daily interaction of the startups with investors. No, even if it is not daily, that means it won't be like everyday pitching, but it would be like connecting to different investors every day, and there would be a whole lot of activities, visible activities that you can find out. So that is actually justifiable. You can find out every day what is happening, and yes, a retainer fee is there because we have our own cost and expenditures. Okay, here comes another question. Where do you see the startup scenario in India in next 5 years? Growth or fall? No, it's a very good time for startups. I'll tell you, in terms of if we take the ecosystem altogether, it is developing. Startup is something, that fosters innovation and inventions. So as of now, we don't have any kind of particular infrastructure available in India that supports inventions particularly. So it's a good move. At least you can have patents for 10% of the cost in India once you register for a startup under Startup India policy. But yes, I'll tell you that patent will only be applicable for India. So generally what do we do as being a startup lawyer, we recommend the clients to register the patent in US, in China, and in India. So at least in these things, because China, they will copy you very quickly. So even if you don't register in India, register your patent in China, right? If it is a good invention. So if you are yourself trying to copy something, then I don't think so. You don't even need a patent. So most of the startups I have seen who have approached me, they have been doing something which is similar to something which has been already done. So I always tell them that this is not an invention, this is innovation. Invention is something which has never existed in past. Sumedh, when you say in carpooling and bike pooling startup, no major players is there. No, I don't think so. It's right. No major player. When I say I don't, we don't compare it with Uber or Ola. However, yes, Ola is already doing that, and even Ola is not successful in carpooling. So there is always an argument with the entrepreneurs about this. They always start getting into arguments. No, we are different, but everybody is different. I'll tell you, being different does not ensure your traction, does not ensure success here, because there are various challenges, especially in India. There are a number of challenges. Safety and security is the biggest challenge here. I've seen cases wherein people get into their car. I know there are lot many features wherein you can verify people, but you don't know what is there in somebody's heart. आप किसी के दिल में नहीं देख सकते ना. So what actually happens is there's a hitch. We don't have an environment wherein female people are going in carpool with people who are unknown. This happens, but this does not happen by large. So first we need to create that environment. That is a big challenge. So I don't say that startup concept is bad or your execution is bad, but the environment is not yet ready. There are some things which when you get launched before time, that particularly does not work. So traction is something that will only ensure that you are actually being able to survive and sustain yourself, and you can scale up, right? So without the traction, 800 is not a big number, to be honest. I don't want to discourage you, but I'm talking what is truth in terms of in the eyes of the investors. See, there are a number of opportunities and startups are failing. So what everybody wants is they want to secure their investment, right? Okay, so Hill says, do you think there is a scope of quant fund, automated trading using machine learning in India? Yes, there is a huge scope because we have a huge population. So whatever is there in US, probably we will be doing that. If we are not doing it today, we will be doing that 5 years down the line. So obviously, whatever is successful, in US, if you go, big LCD screens are very prominent, and you will find more than 50-inch. And in India, it is still, we are struggling to make it a convention at Indian homes. So we will be doing it at a later stage. There are so many households who are using CRT monitors till date. So and the businesses, they are using CRT monitors. Some are using monochrome. In government offices using monochrome monitors. So yes, once we start developing, we have more money to pay. Our standard of living will improve. Per capita income will improve. Then slowly and gradually we will start affording things, and there would be new scope created. Yeah, thank you, Shobik, for agreeing on invention and innovation part. So I think we have spent a lot of time here. Thank you so much. If there is any other question you want to ask, I can wait for one more minute before we close this. And yesterday we had a test, and I was happy that more than 1,000 people saw it. So it's good, and that gave me motivation to again start one particular FB Live, and this is where we are. Okay, so can you help raise capital to hire a team of data scientists and develop alpha models for it? Yes. See, if you are in a mode wherein you have a good traction, in the sense traction, you say you have a good revenue, in Indian rupees it should be approximately 2 lakh rupees a month. If you have that kind of revenue, you can first raise funds, particularly on those bases, and then you can utilize those funds for whatever way you want to. So you can hire scientists, you can do the marketing, whatever. Once the funds hit your bank account, then it is your money. You will decide what to do, provided that you have not cut your hands in the term sheet. So always involve a startup lawyer whenever you sign a term sheet. Don't just sign the term sheet without consulting anybody, specifically a startup lawyer. CAs, I've seen, they are learning about it, so they are not much having expertise about the term sheets and all. But yes, it will develop slowly and gradually. So what you can do is, if that is there in the term sheet, if you are allowed to use your money in that way, yes, you can use the money whatever way you want, but the money is not going to come in just because you say that I want to hire somebody, or I want to get a new infrastructure or something like that. No, money will come on the basis of what you have done. Money will not come on the basis of what you will do. This is very important. Note it down, and if you remember this, you won't have confusions later on. All right. So thank you so much. I think we have to shut down this call. We have been there since 38 minutes now. So I'll see you again. Bye bye.